Has Miles Morales finally met his match in the new supervillain known as the Rabble? Will he be able to defend his friends, his family, and his life from attacks on all sides? Well, let's hop into the pages of Miles Morales Spider-Man issue number 4 and find out together, shall we? So then, picking up directly from where the last issue left off, Miles had finally come face to face with the mysterious new villain going by the codename the Rabble. This lady, real name Raneem, has been nursing a massive grudge against Miles ever since he won the lottery to get admitted into the prestigious Vision Academy. As far as she's concerned, that's where her life went wrong, and now she's ready to punish Miles for robbing her of her future, even if it means absolutely tearing down every aspect of his life. Once again, in a very fun running gag throughout this story, Miles is sure to point out, hey, why are you mad at me? I won a lottery to get into that school. Why don't you go after the very concept of probability and leave me and my friends alone? Oh, but for the Rabble, this hurt runs so much deeper. It's not just that Miles beat her in that lottery to get admitted to the Vision school, but it's that he's done nothing with his actual time at the place. Frequently showing up late and underachieving due to his double life as Spider-Man, which Raneem knows all about because she's been spying on him for a good long time now. That's how she knew to dupe Miles' number and kidnap his friends Tiana the Starling as well as Genki. In fact, she once again reiterates that the next people on her hit list are actually Miles' own two parents and baby sister, of whom she says Miles is setting a terrible example for. Obviously, this sort of aggression lights a fire under Miles' ass, and he's sure to return these attacks in kind, even though the Rabble's suit seems to have been expressly built for the sole purpose of counteracting spider powers. Though as we discover, perhaps the Rabble's tech isn't nearly as top-line and precise as she likes to think it is, as one of her drones ends up exploding, causing a massive shockwave that knocks Miles in the water. Strangely though, it actually looks like Raneem took the worst hit in that explosion. With her nose bleeding, she's forced to slink back to her lair where Tiana is still tied up. Once again, I absolutely love how Cody Ziegler chooses to write Starling in this story. She just continually verbally slaps around Raneem, saying that she's kind of a failure as a supervillain. And yet, much like she did with Miles when this whole story began, she's actually trying to give Raneem the tough love she needs to come back to herself, Tiana not thinking that she's 100% a bad person. Just a person who's really lost and angry and isn't dealing with her problems the way she should. In fact, Tiana realizes that there may actually be a real flaw in the Rabble's design. You see, Rabble uses her technomancer powers to control the drones and all of those gadgets on her suit. Here's the thing though, doing so actually hurts her. That bleeding nose wasn't because she got hit, that's a brain hemorrhage. Meaning that this whole misguided revenge quest is quite literally killing Raneem the longer she goes on. Man, you know, a wise man once said, he who seeks revenge should dig two graves, but I don't even think that guy thought so literally before. Ultimately, Miles gets himself pulled out of the drink by his brand new mentor Misty Knight, who's really paying off dividends with all these life lessons and life-saving rescues. Obviously, Miles is furious about his defeat and wants to swoop right into action to rescue Gank and Tiana, and also to take the fight directly to the Rabble after she threatened his parents. Once again though, Misty Knight is able to step on in and play the role of wise teacher, saying that Miles hasn't listened to anything she's been trying to tell him over the last couple days, and that is he can't just keep running ahead. Fueled by pure emotion and dumb luck, that'll get him killed sooner than later, and she certainly doesn't want to have to break the sad news to his parents, or indeed to Peter for that matter. Part of being a real deal mature hero is learning that sometimes discretion is the better part of valor, especially when dealing with a villain like the Rabble, who already seems to know more about you than you know about yourself. If Miles wants to win this battle, he's going to have to play smart and learn to turn the tables on his foes. Luckily, Misty Knight has an ace in the hole. She managed to grab one of Rabble's drones before she pulled Miles out of the water. If they can turn this thing back on by giving it a good jump, then they might actually be able to track Rabble back to her base of operations and take her by surprise. If nothing else, Misty will be able to save Gank and Tiana. Well, Miles goes home to try and protect his parents and baby sister. This plan ends up working, and we get treated to a truly awesome panel with Miles web surfing on top of Misty's kick-ass muscle car. Misty even winning the quote of the issue by saying, hey, this is how we do street level. And you know what? She's totally right. Misty actually does manage to find the Rabble's lair and rescue Tiana and Gank. Unfortunately, in doing so, she sets off the lair's security system, which in this case seems to be leftover scorpion tail parts from the Matt Gargan upgrade. Well, if nothing else, you know, Raneem is economical. Miles, of course, has no idea any of this is happening as he manages to rush back home in just enough time to see his entire apartment up in flames. I gotta say, this panel right here is pretty damn amazing, with the rain bouncing off his mask while the fire itself is actively reflected in his big bug eyes. I love this sort of shit. I live for it as a comic critic. Now, as the issue comes to a close, the Rabble gets the opportunity to gloat, saying that she likes the fact that Miles lived long enough to see his entire family destroyed before his very eyes. And so that was Miles Morales Spider-Man issue number 4, everybody, and once again, I am positively in love with this book. Cody Ziegler does a great job energizing me both as a comic fan and as a comic critic. This is just great, good old-fashioned character-focused Spider-Man, the sort of stories that we are painfully missing in the main Amazing Spider-Man. Miles needs to learn a lesson in his civilian life, which in turn will make him better in his super life and vice versa. Having Misty Knight as Miles' new mentor is just such a great idea, and her inclusion in this book is already paying off dividends. I'm also really loving the Rabble as a brand new villain too. There's a genius to her simplicity. It's a real throwback to older Spider-Man villains and their motivations, lashing out at the world that wronged them either perceived or otherwise, and having Spider-Man be the avatar and outlet for that anger. It just all works from start to finish. This series is already an easy shoo-in for best of 2023, and if you haven't been reading it, you're absolutely missing out, but it's not too late to catch on. I would give this one another very solid 8 out of 10, and I can't wait to see how this first inaugural arc finishes off.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.